virtual of a resolution scheduling the
Oh,
time,
no,
date, and place
the code for the.
of the minutes of the Borough Council of the Borough of Morris Plains for the year 2024, which resolution was adopted by the Borough Council on January 4th, 2024, and published in the Morris Newsbee and the Daily Record. And by posting of such resolution on the bulletin board of Borough Hall, all the above actions being in accordance with NJSA 10:4-6. Roll call, please.
Mayor Karr.
Present.
Ms. Verga. Here. Mr. Green.
Present.
Mr. Cortez.
Present.
Ms. Goddard. Ms. Kelly. Present. Mr. Wagner.
Present.
Thank you.
So I do have a few things to bring up. One of the things that's on a lot of people's mind are these drones. Attended two updates, one from the White House and one from the state of New Jersey, in which we got little to no information or any new information regarding the drones, where they're coming from, what they're doing, or where they're going. So what you hear on the news or see on the news is probably just the same as what we are hearing about. So really no new news for that. There are new flood maps that have been, preliminary flood maps that have been sent out to all the towns from FEMA and the DEP. There's going to be a meeting up at the Morris County Police Academy tomorrow, in which our engineer and possibly Nancy are going to be going to get a little bit further information. Again, there's preliminary maps. I think they're open for comment now. But I think there's a short window, maybe 30 days. So once I get a better report from our engineer and Nancy, if she goes, we'll be able to report on that. For those of you who didn't see, the new clock was installed, the rotary clock was installed in the center of town this past week. So that's congratulations to them. And I do have a list of the roads this year. This should finish up all of the half-paved roads that Public Service has done when they did the upgrade to the service mains running through town. So it's going to be Cleveland Avenue, Brook Drive North, Davenport Avenue, Wynwood Road, Beach Drive, Sun Valley Way, Forest Avenue, and Forest Court this year. We'll put that on the consent agenda for our engineers to start working on for spring projects. Just on another note, just unfortunately, Joan will not be with us today. She's feeling under the weather, so we hope she feels better. I think that's all I have for now. Nancy, do you have anything?
We got an email from the Borough grant writer about the Community Change Grant Program. America Walks sponsors it, and Active People Healthy Nations. So this grant will award $2,000 in community grants for projects related to creating healthy, active, and engaged places to live, work, and play. So I don't know if you want to think about doing, maybe trying to get some more money for our trail grant.
I talked to Steve about it, and I did talk to him about it, probably not with the amount of work that's involved. It's very competitive, he says it's only for $2,000.
$2,000 and only six awardees.
Yeah, and Anna said that it's not worth it
Okay.
at the time. She'll put more time in it.
Okay. And then we have like a longer discussion I wanted to have about something Joan asked me to pursue for her. She asked me to kind of speak on her behalf since she's not going to be able to be here today. And our next meeting is probably going to be a short meeting, and she wants to make sure it gets discussed before the end of the year. But do you want to see if anybody else has anything before? It's on Shade Tree.
Dennis?
I do, yes. So we have an application in, for someone to use the community center. It is for 6 consecutive Saturdays, 9 to 10:30. Joan wanted me to speak about it because we normally just give the space to Morris Plains residents. The applicant is from Morris Township, and she's also an EMT with the Morris Minutemen. She's a coach with the Special Olympics. This is a program, a young athletes program. So Larry's been going back and forth with her. He kind of wants to let her know how council feels about that. I mean, I guess I think that's one of the points we always try and make is that it's from Morris Plains. But I personally feel like, the township is our neighbor, and it's for a great cause. And she is an EMT with Morris Minutemen, and we have had several residents who work with. So I just wanted to.
And just the police are involved, especially they run the torch for Special Olympics, through town.
Yeah.
So, as long as it doesn't interfere.
And they're not charging anything, are
No.
What is it, training for the?
There was
athletes?
there were two conflicts, but they were willing to take the smaller of the rooms, and will continue to do that if there are further conflicts. I'm trying to get the dates here, and I'm not wrong. It's January 18th through February 22nd. There's 6 Saturdays. They booked the multi-purpose room. They have to switch. They have to pull an audible and use room A. Two of those six Saturdays.
How long is it, an hour and a half?
Hour and a half. Morristown Young Athletes, it's called, but it's affiliated with the Special Olympics.
And the committee was in full agreement, which it sounds like you're leaning that way, right?
Okay, I'll let
You good with that?
Larry know.
Yes, I am.
You good?
Yes.
Nancy, Art, Sal?
Dennis, what are they gonna be doing for us?
I can find out from Riley. It's an indoor winter young athlete program. So I'm guessing it's gonna be some physical activity, so.
Larry knows more about this too?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, was the,
Is there an age
Contact.
group? Is there an age group that you mentioned?
I don't have an age, I
Okay,
don't
I just
have,
wondered.
it's young athlete program.
So they have to have an insurance waiver, just like any other group, right?
I would imagine, I think they're,
It's gonna be my age.
Yeah, they have to.
would imagine they're prepared for that.
Along with some waivers.
Okay,
I think
I'll-
it's done previously.
I'll reach out to Larry tomorrow.
But that's something that needs to be- When is this happening?
the first Saturday would be, January 18th, that's a Saturday, would be the 18th. Alright?
Not this part.
Okay, all right, so Joan asked me as council president to lead a discussion about, in her absence, about a topic that she discussed with her Buildings and Grounds Committee. She received a memo from Shade Tree on November 6th requesting additional funds for tree maintenance from another department's budget, as they have exceeded their budget for the year. So she met with her committee and they denied the request. But she wanted me to share this because it's been an ongoing situation with the shade tree, and I feel that, and so does she, in order to exceed budget amounts with taxpayer dollars, Shade Tree needs to provide a little more explanation as to why they can't stay within their budget, which is $96,700. So facts related to this are the Shade Tree budget has doubled since 2012, when it was $43,175. Last year, it was actually $117,400 after a transfer from Buildings and Ground budget of $30,000. And in comparison to other Morris County towns that have a shade tree commission, who publish on the website that they do have a budget for those commissions, and they're within 1 to 3 square miles, similar size to Morris Plains, all have shade tree commission budgets of, well, these are the towns I've found: Chatham, Chester, Morristown, Riverdale. Their budgets were $29,000, $18,000, $1,250, and $2,500 respectively. So the other thing about this is that Shade Tree Commission does not present the council with a plan for the year outlining planned expenditures for planting, pruning, and removal. And Fridays before the meeting, oftentimes the person who is called the forester will drive around and find things to, you know, to request funding for at the next meeting. The Shade Tree Commission also hasn't provided a priority list of trees that represent the highest risk to residents that could be tackled early in the year when the budget is flush with cash. They generally try to spend, they take their 96,000 budget divided by 12 and try to spend that 8,000 a month. So when you come up to the end of the year, like we are now, where there are some emergencies that they need to take care of, they're short of funding. So they also don't provide an accounting to the council at the end of the year of what they accomplished during the year, how many trees were taken down at residents' requests, how many were targeted for pruning or takedown by the DPW, how many were referred to Greenwood Tree, which is our contractor for tree maintenance. So there are really right now no checks and balances on that budget spend. And I watched the film of the October 7th Shade Tree Commission meeting, which is available on YouTube. And what I was dismayed to see is that our contractor who does tree maintenance and removal sits on the dais with the Shade Tree Commission members. And, you know, he's the guy who makes the money if we decide to do something with the trees. And he was referred to as the forester by members of Shade Tree Commission, and that's also on a website that his title is our forester, but we really don't have a position in the borough for that. He's qualified to be that, to have that title though. But since he owns Greenwood Tree Service, he also is basically advising the committee on what trees need to come down and what ones need to wait and what are priority and what needs to be pruned. And there's nobody else on the Shade Tree Commission who has appropriate training to be able to assess whether the trees are damaged, dead, dangerous, etc. So the Shade Tree Commission members simply tally the dollar amounts that he recites, and then he gets paid once, you know, once the work is complete, he gets paid. So, another thing I think I'm dismayed about is that, having done research for the tree ordinance that we're going to be introducing next year, hopefully, Shade Tree Commissions were created in order to reduce the liability for the borough. So if you have a Shade Tree Commission that meets the criteria of being approved, which is certain training that they have to undergo each year, then if there's a situation with a tree, that the borough's liability is reduced, and that's the purpose for having a shade tree. But no one on our Shade Tree Commission currently has any of the training that's required. And the last time they had a plan for trees for the borough, for the tree canopy, was 2014, when Lori Fu was the council liaison. They created a 5-year plan which expired in 2019. And at the time they did have some members who were trained, including our DPW superintendent, but that training has not been maintained. So without the, you know, the protection of that training, we lose that liability protection also. So they also have an opportunity to pursue grants to create a plan and a tree inventory. That plan that Lori Fu created was with a grant, and one of the recommendations in that plan was to complete a full tree inventory of all of our borough trees. And that was never accomplished. It does take additional funding, but there are grants available to pursue that inventory. So at the October meeting, I observed there was no discussion of the DPW assisting with any of the tree pruning or removal. All the funds that Dave Doobie mentioned for the different trees that he ran through during the meeting with the amounts that were tallied by the members are for funding that the company that he owns. So I feel like we really need a little bit more checks and balances on this system that is currently in place to spend this money down and to request additional funding at the end of the year. Now, you know, we also have an issue of liability. So nobody wants dead trees falling, limbs falling on people in the borough. That's obviously a dangerous situation. So we need to, you know, consider that when we take this into consideration. But what other towns do is they have a third party arborist that they hire on an hourly rate to look at the list of trees that are recommended for any action, and they, you know, sign off on them. So it's kind of a third party who's objective, who's not making any money from the actual activity of the trees. So as far as the risk goes, I think that they do say a lot of times there's a lot of pressure to take things down because of the risk. But I was able to attend got a copy of at the New Jersey League of Municipalities, they had a presentation called Boosting the Benefits of Your Municipal Tree Canopy, and I wasn't able to make it. But the presenters, provided the slide deck, and I asked for a copy. And, one of the slides they had was the perception versus the reality of dangerous trees. The chances of a tree harming a person is rare. The chances of a person harming a tree is fairly certain. And what they show is that, the rate of a tree or branch falling and killing a person is 1 in 10 million. But the chance of a car accident killing a person is 1 in 112. And the chance of a pedestrian being killed is 1 in 485. So I think that sometimes the risk of these trees is overstated. And, you know, there's a lot of feedback that's been around the borough about pedestrian and traffic safety lately. And, you know, some of the individuals advocating for this funding for trees did not express the same level of concern about these other risks that I just mentioned that are much more likely to happen to a person in the borough. So because of this increasing risk and the concern, the increasing expense and the concern about risk, I just wanted to have a discussion with the council about, instead of having a budget that is as high as ours is, considering maybe taking a piece of that budget and allocating it towards a third party who could provide the service to evaluate our requests. And I would recommend postponing additional work until we can make sure that this commission is operating with some checks and balances on spending. In my quick research, it looks like the arborist work would be under the bid threshold, so I don't think it would take long to get the bids, to find somebody who could provide the service for us and work out a solution with the Shade Tree Commission where they could figure out how to make those referrals and get those approvals so that we could keep the work moving. And also, this person would be able to give us an estimate on updating our plan and tree inventory and going for those grants that would help to pay for those things, so that we could have a tree program that actually is working for the borough. So that's my long spiel, and I just wanted to see if anybody else had any input on that.
So, how much are they looking for?
Who?
The shade.
20,000.
The request that they made to Jim, I can look it up on the,
I think it was like 20, right, Dennis?
I can look it up.
And is it possible that so it wouldn't be a bid, it would be a quote if it's under 17,000, right, is what you're saying?
For the services?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always mix up those
Alright, so
words. Quote.
is there a shared service or something with another municipality possibly you could look at? And are any of these trees in parks right now that do have to be addressed, or is this just?
The trees that they requested the funding for, that was, that the committee, the other two members of the committee denied, were in the parks. They were something that was located late from one of these drive-arounds by the arborist, by the forester, that were not included in a plan that was created at the beginning of the year, that was not budgeted for earlier in the year. It was like a late add to the list of items.
The other thing, just to say that the Greenwood and the road department have a very good relationship, so our capacity for that is limited, as far as the height of the truck, you know, what we do there, so I know that they have a good working relationship, whatever that's for.
That's good.
And no,
I do have a question, and I'm glad you brought that up, because, when I worked with them, the DPW always helped take down trees that they could reach. The height of some trees was not feasible, but the lower trees,
Kat,
they
can
could do
you
it.
talk in the mic, please?
I'm sorry, are they still doing it?
Move it close.
Are they still?
I only observed the one meeting on January 7th, so there was no discussion about referring any of the work to the DPW. That may be part of the process. It wasn't something that I was.
If it still was.
Yeah, I think Johnny looks at, I'll say anything that's questionable that they can do, I know the tree guys will ask John to take a look at it. And we all signed the vouchers too, so you see what the size of the trees that they're taking down. So that's one thing we're looking at, is what they can do with their capacity, so.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, because like 12 to 26 inch tree is what we sign off on.
Right.
So I can't envision how tall that tree is and if it's something that the DPW can do or not, but I see those on
But if
there
it's
a
a
lot.
takedown or a prune or something like that, it also has like specifications. Anyway.
Limit on height with the bucket truck, I think.
Yeah, the bucket truck.
So that bucket truck, you know, say, I'm gonna make it up 30 feet, and they're not gonna go that high.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was on Shade Tree for 2 years, I think Madison has the, I don't know if it's forest, so the guy would go around and check. Arborist, but he would go and verify the tree was unhealthy. I can look at my notes, I remember, I want to say it was like $46 an hour or something, there was a fee, but I thought it was a good idea too, because God bless everybody that volunteers on all these committees, we appreciate them, but there was very little knowledge, including myself, on a healthy tree, an unhealthy tree, a dangerous tree. Our biggest focus when I was on was the ash trees that were dead, and they became very brittle, so the most of that was takedown of dead trees. But there were some other trees that had fungus, which, you know, I know nothing about.
That was the big spike in the.
Yeah.
That was the big spike,
Right.
I think the
And then it's
23 spike.
maintained.
Yeah,
after
right,
that.
and then towards the end of my tenure, they were planting trees, which they hadn't done in like 16 years, so, I agree with, I think there should be a check and balance. Just, it's an honorable service, the company that does our tree work, none of us know or don't know what, you know, should or shouldn't take it down, so I think it'd be interesting, we should look into that option and get some costs, you know, just to investigate it and.
The other thing that's gonna be coming next year with this new tree ordinance that the state's requiring is that residents are gonna have to put in an application for a permit to take a tree down of a certain size. And who's gonna review those permits? Who's gonna review whether this tree meets the criteria for takedown, or whether they need to replant a new tree, or whether they really don't need to take the tree down because it doesn't meet any of the criteria? There's not gonna be a pool there, or a sidewalk, or, tree's not dead, et cetera. So it might be good to start that relationship with somebody who can also maybe make those decisions as well.
Just you bring that up, and I was looking in the League magazine here, and there is, legislation now, A 4260. And, it's gonna prohibit the DEP from requiring municipalities to adopt ordinances that control tree removal and replacement. So.
Is it a resolution?
No, it's a bill.
Oh,
Assembly
there's a bill in assembly, okay,
So that might all be on hold anyway, so.
okay.
Don't put a lot of time in it until we get this.
Well,
Do it
yeah,
by now.
I mean, the ordinance is sitting right now, it's not,
Yeah,
right
no,
now
I
it's just
just,
sitting.
until we get a little further on that.
It was due in May, we're late already, but if that might change, then, yeah.
I have a question. How long have we been in contract agreement with tree service?
Off the top of my head, I
Oh
don't
my gosh.
know the year, it's been a while,
For a long time.
I don't know the year.
I think they're the only one that did, right?
We go out for bid, and they were the, lowest bidder. We went out for bid last year in Greenwood.
Well, every year we go out to bid.
But they've been doing, but they've been
Every
winning the
2
bid and
years.
doing the work
I
for
remember
many, many
3
years.
years.
I should say 20, 25 years.
And
Yeah.
I remember.
Then it
25.
changed to 2 annual.
You think about
Yeah.
25 years. So I think it's healthy every few years to delve into the processes and checks and balances on any.
Okay, so.
I don't think there's
On
been
the
any.
table.
Not that anything, I'm just saying, with that length of time, sometimes you get a chance to be complacent, comfortable with the company, and, checks and balances and checking up are always a good thing.
Yeah, certainly something for, to look out for next year moving forward.
So
But really,
when-
what's on the table tonight is, and did you come up with the fund, the amount?
No,
Jones
that was already denied.
Oh, yeah,
That
but
was
Jones
denied
has
by the
$20,000, yeah.
Yeah, but the council makes the decision, not the committee.
Well, I wasn't prepared to give you a dollar amount that wasn't the purpose of this. The purpose of this is to see if
What was-
we could agree that we don't do any further takedowns or removal until we get this other person to have a third party
So
review.
was
these
the
things.
letter submitted to the council?
No,
It was only to the committee?
it was submitted to Joan as the.
Alright, so what was the committee's recommendation?
The committee denied the request right now. They
Alright,
said put it
so-
off till next year, when they have new
Alright,
budget.
but it should be a council decision, not just, the committee can make a recommendation, but the council really should vote
Okay.
in on that, you know. So, are you in favor of holding on,
Yeah, I'd like to hold off.
Dennis?
Yes.
And I'm just curious about that, Greenwood, is there some issue that you have with Greenwood?
No, I've not heard any issues with
Okay.
Green, but it's the
That's okay.
process.
Okay.
I'll hold up.
I'm gonna have to hold off on because, what, this 20,000, is there an exact thing for it, did they specify? Was it for the lantern fire they call it?
No.
Something
It's
that
for-
they did abruptly, or?
Take-
They
take,
identified some trees that they said in the parks that need to be trimmed or removed, et cetera.
Part of the comment was, they didn't wanna be in the red for next year, you know, they wanna wait till next year, cause they identified this year, but they're having a budget, and that was a common theme when I was on, that they would run out of money, and then, oh, we can't be in the red, and we would transfer money from maybe
Yeah.
Yes.
another department.
I mean, if there's money and something has to be done, I know you always said trees were a safety issue,
No,
a safety
100%.
factor,
Yeah.
but if they have to be done, I don't think we should be ignorant either about this.
Correct.
I didn't see a list, I don't know
Right.
what, there has to be a list or something that they're requesting.
Yeah, they have a
this money.
list, they have a
Well,
list,
that's-
again, though,
That's what should be
the
presented.
chance of a tree harming someone is so slight.
I understand, but I'm just hearing a list now, so I'm just
Right.
trying to get all the information.
I think that,
so.
you know, if we're really concerned about safety, maybe we should close all of our roads so nobody gets hit by a car, you know, that kind of thing. Like, we really can't eliminate every risk, and the risk is so small
100%.
that we can wait a month till January when they have budget.
Listen, I'm just asking the question because I didn't hear about anything, so that's.
Right.
2 weeks.
So
We're gonna
you're
get
gonna hold off.
$100,000
Well,
basically in January.
we have to approve it.
I mean, they treat the
We have
budget like
budget.
a retainer
Right,
and
budget
try to
March.
spend the 8,000
And then
every
cross
month,
the
and then
bridge.
have nothing left at the end of the year when they have emergencies. So it needs to be a little more responsibly designed so that there's a plan that's approved at the beginning of the year. They know what they're going to go for, and then if things crop up, emergencies, there's plenty of funds for that.
So this 20,000 just came out like in the last couple of months, Nancy, or, I
I
shouldn't
think
answer.
the letter to
that.
Joan was November 9th. I remember the date, but I don't remember the email.
That's very
That was
good.
a month ago. All right, so we'll hold off until next year. Okay, anybody else? Did you need an executive session? Nancy?
Be it resolved by the Borough Council of the Borough of Morris Plains on the 19th day of December 2024, the mayor and Borough Council shall meet in executive session from which the public shall be excluded to discuss matters as permitted pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12 subsections
7 and 8.
B7 and B8. The time when the matters discussed pursuant to paragraph 1 hereof can be disclosed to the public is as soon as practicable after the final resolution of the aforesaid matters.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dennis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The ayes have it. We'll be in executive session. We'll be back here, at the latest 8:30.
Okay, now you can hit it. Yep, hit end. Yep.